Hey guys, welcome back to Major Decisions. Um, this is a different um, type of story that I wanted to share, and it's like been on my mind for like many years now. And I wanted to share like my experience with a college relationship where you think you found your forever. So let's start from the beginning. I came in to college in 2019, freshman year. Had no experience with dating really. Kind of went on one date in high school, but it was just prom, and that didn't end too well. But I was just an awkward high school girl who had no idea how to talk to a boy. And I was kind of thinking, like, going into college, like, how is it going to work when I might get asked out on a date or might be someone's girlfriend, and talk about, like, what could happen after college life. In freshman year, like I've had crushes, and like every time like I would admit like I had a crush on them, it didn't really go in my favor. So I'm like, whatever. But sophomore year, that was like actually like my first kiss. Like I never kissed a guy until I was 20 years old, and this was like months after we got sent home from COVID. So yeah, I went to school when we had to the mask mandate. It was really insane, and honestly, like definitely a memory of going to class with your mask on, or if you were exposed to COVID, you had to tell your professors that like you're gonna go get tested, and then you had to have like either a check mark that you didn't get COVID, or you X saying like you have to quarantine in another dorm and go through Zoom classes or just do the online homework and quizzes. But back to my story. Sophomore year, had my first kiss with a guy, and that didn't really last long. And then had a couple of crushes on me. Like, I didn't think anyone else would be interested in me. I'm just like a short Latina girl who is very outgoing, talks a lot, hence to why I have this podcast. And um, like my first crush, didn't really expect things to go down, but like we talked about it as adults. We're actually really good friends now, and really happy for my friends. You know, they actually got married recently, and so happy for them. Honestly, I saw it coming, and they're just like the greatest people I've ever met, honestly. And while like I was talking to that person, um, there was another guy from one of my classes. We met through a Zoom class before we were able to go back in person because our professor was out sick. And this guy noticed my voice when I first spoke about um, this movie poster because the professor had asked, like, our thoughts on Jaws. It was the first film we were going to watch and discuss and write in our journals that we would submit at the end of the semester. And I guess he really noticed me. Like I've never felt noticed ever at that time. And I I really didn't know what to do, but he was already in a relationship in the beginning of the year, so like I didn't, notice that he noticed me. I didn't bother, but like we did talk like about assignments. We followed each other on Instagram, started messaging each other through there, did FaceTime calls, voice calls. It probably took months for him to give him to exchange phone numbers because I think it was a time like I was not doing well mentally, and it's a lot because like this was like years ago, 2020. I'm thinking way back. I don't have anything written down right now. This is going back to like what I remember. Um, but like, yeah, he was in a 2 year relationship. I guess at some point they've broken up, and around like election time, like I didn't get a chance to register in the county where we went to school because it was already too late. So I'm like, I need to go back to my hometown, which is like 3 hours away from school, just to vote. And my professors were okay with me missing class because I was, you know, giving a vote to see who our next president was going to be. And he needed to vote as well. And he didn't register in the same county. He registered basically an hour and 15 away from my hometown. So, and he knew about my hometown because his dad actually is uh, still at where I'm originally from. So we decided to carpool together. He paid for the gas. He filled up my car tank when, I was the one driving. It was my car. And so he drove first. We drove up to my hometown so I can vote. And we switched off so that I can drive so that he could have time to rest. And I thought, one of us is going to sleep and the other person was just going to drive. But no, we actually talked for the whole 6 hour round trip just to get to know each other. We actually got breakfast at McDonald's. And oh my God, my voice is just, changing because I talk a lot. So my voice tends to like get nasally and everything. And honestly, it was really nice getting to know him. I actually had to give my roommate a life 360 so that she makes sure that I'm not getting murdered. But oh my goodness, I love my friend. She was really caring, and she's actually getting married to her person. And honestly, I cannot wait to see where life takes them. It probably took me like, let's see, 4-ish months to discover my feelings for this guy. We're gonna call him, let's see, we're gonna call him James, even though that was not his name. We're gonna call him that, and then we're gonna call this girl right here. You guys know I'm Lilly Marie. We're gonna call her Mandy. Wait, no, actually no. Let's call her Carly. So James and Carly. Oh man, and so it took Carly months to catch feelings for James. And it was actually the day after Valentine's Day. She texted him her feelings, and then he sends a voice recording to Carly, like, hey, like, I want to kind of reiterate on what you said yesterday or whatever. I still like you, and like, I haven't stopped. And like, all that kind of stuff, like saying, like, you're funny. And like, he would notice, like, that Carly would talk about like The Bachelor a lot and make things so dramatic, and it's actually funny. And yes, she still watches The Bachelor sometimes, but through TikTok because she's an adult now. She's 24. She literally has no time to watch TV, and she's a coach for cheerleading. And we finally went on our first date. We got like tacos at a Mexican restaurant actually nearby campus. He thought he ruined the date by squeezing lemon lime in his eye by accident. And he's like, that's so embarrassing. And Carly was like, no, it's okay. Like, it happens. It happens to all of us. Like, any embarrassing moment, there's nothing to be embarrassed about, honestly. Like, I mean, if you need to feel embarrassed, then let's say something embarrassing. But yeah, there's, nothing to be embarrassed about. We all have our moments on our first dates, especially with someone who you really, really like. And let's see. I'm trying to think of any other thing. But yeah, then we went on a couple more dates. It probably took us like 4 dates. I keep saying us, but I was trying to get the James and Carly vibe, but it just was not working with my brain. But anyways, took us 4 dates to make things official because I think I was getting impatient a little bit. I'm like, what are we? And finally started holding hands in the parking lot. Well, not in the parking lot. We actually started holding hands in one of the lights in his car. And it just, like, was so relieving to, like, finally feel wanted and me wanting to want someone as much as they do. And then we had our first kiss when he was dropping me off back in my dorm. And as soon as I came up, my roommate was, like, sitting in our bed. And I'm just like, we're official. We had our first kiss, and then like we went to our best friend's apartment and we made cookies from scratch. So I think that was, the highlight. Like, besides, finally being a serious relationship, making homemade cookies, it was very fun. Let's take a little breather. So back to my story. So we're official. Things are going well. Um, it was my first, relationship. So like, and also things were a little bit hard because like we had some restrictions, like you can't bring other people into the dorm, even though we brought one of our friends into our dorm room because he needed to reunite with his buddy, and they had not seen each other in months. It felt like a bromance needed to be reunited. That's off topic, but anyways, we did a lot together, like hiking. We, we just did a lot, as much as we could together, and we also had classes as well. Well, we just had the one class, and then he actually joined Wind Symphony with me because I said like, before we started dating, like, hey, we actually need more percussionists because we're just low in numbers, and people were moving up to wind orchestra, which is the highest ensemble on campus. And I was in Wind Symphony, so like it gave us, more to like spend time together and actually play together. And I wasn't the best clarinet player, if I'm gonna be honest, and that's all I, need to say. I wasn't really the best. I just, showed up and was like happy to be there, like share my love with music. I still do. People with a distance, and yeah. So anyways, so we basically spent that whole semester like, classes, eating out. Like I saw my memories that we went to a Chinese restaurant. I didn't keep them in the picture. I just took a picture of the food and just like the location where I was at. But yeah, I would say like my first semester with a boyfriend, it was really good. And then like we spent as much as we could over the summer so that we can keep things going. He came over to my house at the time, and things were going really well. And around like, you know, before summer ended, like we were getting things ready for band camp. I was on leadership for the first time. I never was a section leader ever up until college. And also like they actually needed someone that was like a veteran, but I only did 1 year of marching because COVID was canceled. And I like how I said COVID was canceled. No, you guys know what I meant. COVID canceled basically everything. Like we couldn't, no football, basketball still happened, but there was no band allowed because we weren't tier 1 personnel. But so anyways, what I'm thinking is like, so we got to spend time, a little bit of time together before band camp. He actually took me to an amusement park called Indiana Beach Amusement Park to celebrate my birthday early because my birthday was literally the first day of leadership camp. And it was really, really sweet. And like, it was such a long day. It was already really hot. I was getting exhausted. I'm like, hey, I think, we should probably go so that, I don't get home too late. And also gotta see like if my mom needs me or anything. Gave me a gift. It was really thoughtful, and like I was really blushing, and I'm like, I think I love this guy. I haven't told him yet. We haven't said I love you yet. And then I literally blurted out in the car like, I love you. And he was like, his face was like, I'm like, oh, is it too early? We've only been going out since like March up until like July. And he had been feeling the same way. And it was like, my heart like couldn't stop beating. Like I felt like it felt like a dream, honestly. Like I didn't think any of it was real. And I woke up the next morning, I'm like, I can't believe that just happened. I told my mother. She was really happy for me because she wants all of her daughters to like have either be in a successful relationship or just have the life that they, grow to want or that they need in our lives. It was like going to my junior year, things were like looking up for me. Like I was section leader. I finally have a boyfriend. I am slowly starting to focus on my fitness health, and just things were going my way, and I didn't think that would happen. And like things were getting serious. Junior year was like getting started, and as relationships go, we had those tough moments, like have little arguments about the little things, and then we just, we discuss and then we move forward because we were able to find a solution to things. But I think like months had gone by. It was like marching band season was like almost done. Well, actually, during marching band, there were times like we've had our moments, like we would cry in the car because like he seemed angry or not in a good mood, but I felt like he was just trying to focus on like the day of the game days and whatnot, because game days were really long hours. We're there early. We have like a little rehearsal. Yeah, it's just like we were on to go, like go go go, and he just needed reassurance. I did my best to reassure him as much as I can, and there were times I've hid this. There were times I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Am I the worst girlfriend in the world? Like, I need to know like what I can do just to be there for you, or like what can I do? Like, do you need space for me? There were times like he brought me cookies, and then the building had a fire alarm because, people in our building did not know how to cook very well, or they had stuff in their apartment that they were not supposed to have. And he brought cookies, and I don't know what it was. He got upset about something and started walking away. And I might have said like I wanted to break up. And then we had to like take a walk and just talk it out. So like we never really broke up. Like I basically at first initiated it. And we've actually had those like talks like of the future marriage, and like when someone talks to me about marriage, like that gives me hope. Like, did I find my person? Am I really gonna be like hopefully like married before my 30s and just like be happy? And like junior year, it was tough, but we were able to get through it. We got to our 1 year. This is like the longest story, honestly. But like I'm sharing like what I know, and like the good moments, the bad moments. Like we all had those. And from what I can remember, like we got to our 1 year. He got me tickets to see Lilly Rodrigo in Nashville. And I didn't think I was gonna go. And that was like our first out of state trip together. And honestly, it was a really good experience. Lilly Rodrigo's songs, like, you know, now they hit me in the soul pretty hard because like I can now relate to most of the songs. And so like we, got through our 1 year, we got through junior year, we both started. Basically, it was supposed to be my final year, but then I switched majors because the last major was really stressing me out. Had withdrawn from chemistry, exposed that I have an IEP, which explains what learning disability I have, which is like struggle with reading comprehension. But I've learned to deal with it, and now I love to read when I can, whether it's a book, an audiobook, a podcast, or a job that requires more studying. But they're very good at with accommodation. So like I never told anyone besides him. And we get to senior year, living in the same apartment again. I did eventually move out because, financial reasons. So I moved back into a dorm, and it was just a lot. Were we physically involved with each other? A bit, yes. I've never mentioned that, but there are times where I'm just like I'm not in the mood, or I'm just like working a lot because I had started working as a desk attendant um halfway through the year. And I was just tired a lot because, like, I did marching band for one more year. I did basketball band, and we went to Arizona together. We went to Puerto Rico for an alternate break trip with some other students. And if I'm gonna be honest, I was an emotional mess about the little things, and then he would get upset. There was a time in our life he asked me if I was ADHD. I may be, but it might be undiagnosed because I'm a girl who does not have health insurance. So I'm very poor. And somehow I'm living the dream. And when I was asked about the ADHD question, that really made me upset because I'm like, I don't know. And I don't know how long we were like arguing about this. When we had arguments, they would last for like a couple hours. And we would just end up like either taking a nap or going for a walk in the park when it's like not, rainy out or anything. But so like going into the second semester, because first semester was kind of a blur of senior year, because like I was more like focused on like my leadership position and everything, making sure my section was okay, like physically and mentally. And he didn't really seem too engaged, honestly. Didn't really care about the funny things and the funny moments that happened at rehearsal. I'm like, hey, this is what happened. Cool. That's the response I would get. And we had been together for almost 2 years. So I'm like, back in my mind, I'm like, am I doing something wrong? Like, is there anything else I can do? There was a time I did snoop on his phone a couple times. And like the second time, it was just because the first time I wasn't sure if we were going to last because it was something I saw because I was trying to, take a funny picture and whatnot. And we fought about that. And then the second time, it was just like, can I really trust him after what happened the first time? Like, is there someone better than me, like emotionally? Because, like, I know I'm an emotional mess. And I didn't think like I would trust someone if they are not just telling me everything. Like I need like full honest truth. That's all I ask for in a relationship is like communication, being honest. And it was just I thought we were done then and there, but looks like we kept going with it. And I did mention a little bit about Arizona, how we went to Arizona. It was after I gotten back from St. Louis from basketball band. We had gotten eliminated in the semifinal round um, to Bradley. That was hard because that was like my last time doing basketball band, which I thought. Went to Arizona. We didn't really do much, but like it wasn't planned very well. Like we just walked around a campus, went to a Target, I think, some sort of stores, and I didn't mind it. It was nice to be in another state, so like it felt relaxing. Um, but anyways, I didn't notice anything wrong. Like things were going well. Um, he was going to Ireland, and I was gonna go to another alternative break trip, but I was on the wait list, so it was kind of too late for me to go at the time, and I didn't have my passport. I was gonna like be ready to go get it, but it was too late, so I just kind of like stood home, worked a bit, worked at the mall, and just did what I could so that I can get into my fifth and final year of college. Like we had got an apartment together, we had put down a deposit. Like I did half, he did half, and didn't really spoke to me for like 2 weeks. He was in Ireland. Excuse was, you know, data plan or whatever. Those plans are when you go out of the country. so that you don't get paid as much, which is understandable, but like gotta be really clear so that like I could or like you can just like plan around, just like, oh, they don't want to use our data, but we could still at least send them a message so they could at least see it or at least hear it. I didn't think anything was wrong. First time came back, things were going so well. We went mini golfing and went to a burger place that we would always go to. Really good food, by the way. I think I want to go back to that place so that I could have another burger. It was so good, and the fries were delicious. He went back. I was missing him a bit because it had been a couple more weeks, and I'm like, wanting to see him. Yeah, we had planned to see each other later that week, but then he's like, can we actually see each other earlier? And I'm like, actually, sure. So like that got me more excited just to see him earlier, so I didn't have to like wait. Went to get lunch. Wanted to talk about the apartment. I'm like, okay. Like, can we talk about it now? They're like, no, we'll talk about it in the car. So after lunch, went to his car. Didn't really see any signals of a breakup. No signals, no words. Ask if I have anywhere else to stay. Maybe stay with my sister, who lived an hour and a half from campus, by the way. And that's too long of a commute, by the way. Like, I'm not driving an hour and a half every day for marching rehearsal and all that. And it didn't really get into my brain until like a couple hours later when I'm like, hey, I have a plan for us. And he took me to the mall to make me feel better, got me a coffee. Because like I didn't see any signs. I didn't hear the word like we need to break up or like I don't think we should be together. Didn't get any of those words. So like when you're breaking up with someone, be very clear. Because like when that happened to me, my whole world literally came crashing down. Spent a little over 2 years together. I thought this guy was my person. I actually thought he wanted to marry me. But there are times like he felt scared about marriage because he's like, oh, I don't want to be like our parents. I'm like, we're not. Like, they loved each other and they just stopped. Like, I screamed in his car. I cried for hours. Had asked how he felt about us, about not being together for a while. He's like, since spring break. Just to let you know, this breakup was in June of 2023. And spring break was in March of that year. So, like, feeling that way for months and not being honest. I'd rather know earlier so that I can plan for senior year. Had to get my deposit back. Had to find an apartment within a month. And it was hard. Like, I remember going to my car and leaving the restaurant, and I immediately called one of my best friends. Like, something happened, and I don't think I can get past it. I'm crying now because, like, just looking back on it, like, I feel like I could do better. I could have done better as a girlfriend, but there was not much more that I could have done to change it. Try to change his mind. Try to, like, can you relook at this? Like, what did I do wrong? Like, yeah, I talk a lot. And if you had stopped loving me, at least tell me. Just be honest. That's all I ask for. And like, I'm sharing this because this is how I want you guys to get to know me. My next episode, I'll have explain like my actual freshman experience, like what classes were like and activities and friends, not just the relationship side. Like, I remember calling my best friend. My best friend said, like, he would like be there for me, like give my ex dirty looks when he would see him, and like I'm still best friends with him to this very day. Still owes me a cheesecake, by the way, if he's listening to this. Um, it just took me a while to like give my older sister a call. She was gonna give me our cat, and that's when I was like, we don't need the cat anymore because we broke up. And the called our other sister. We had a 3-way call. Basically, couldn't tell my mother like that I got dumped, and I'm literally crying and I'm heartbroken. So like one of my sisters told her so that she doesn't like completely explode in like what want from a parent after you go through a breakup. You just want a hug. You just want them just to like hold you while you cry your eyes out, cry out your soul that you've given to a person for a long time who you thought was your person. So like anyone who like is in a relationship and things have been off, like which can happen, but like if you notice your person is off, like have a good talk with them. Like don't go through what I went through, hiding things and whatnot. Like be honest. Like that's all a lot of people want. And for me, like I went on a couple dates in college, my senior year, just to like I don't know, just to see what else was out there. And like I tend to like get emotionally attached to someone. And at that point, I have just like given up like on dating. Like there were times like I was an emotional mess and I felt like I was wrong. I felt like I was saying sorry. I felt like um when the person's like, "Oh no, you're wrong. You're right. I'm wrong." I'm like, "No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'm wrong. I'm being honest." Like honestly, like that relationship, like I learned a lot, but it was just emotionally draining. Like I've never told anyone that. And like I honestly wish this person nothing but the best for their life and what life has to bring them. But like since I finished college, as a 24-year-old in this generation, it's actually much harder to date. Like I've only been on one date since I've graduated from college because online dating is tough. Um, when someone's like, "Oh, I cannot wait to date you," and you're seeing more red flags than green ones. Like I don't see myself dating or ever getting married, but that's okay. Not everyone has to be married. Not everyone has to be in a relationship. But everyone just needs support from family, from close friends. Because like there are gonna be times where like, oh, I wish I was in a relationship. Oh, they're getting married. I wish that was me. I wanna, be there at some point in life. And we'll come right back. Just want to end this. If you ever feel like you're an emotional mess in a relationship, I'd say write it down, write it in your journal, talk about it with your person, talk about it with a family member, talk about it with a friend, talk about it with a professional. And like I've thought of going back to therapy, which I plan on doing soon just to get it all out besides my podcast. So like I think this podcast is my therapy. And my plan for my next episode, I'm just gonna explain my college experience as much as I can, how classes were, how I felt emotionally during those times, and just like tell my side of how things were, the good and the bad, and maybe the funny moments too. So, thank you guys for listening to Major Decisions. This is Lilly Marie, and I will see you next time.